So my question I wanted to ask to start the show off, of the new coaches in the SEC, just give me the timeline you think until they can get their team into a college football playoff, whether it's a 12 team and then eventually a 16 or a 24.
Okay, but if they have no shot, is it more, okay,
They're not
here's how
gonna do
long
it.
it's going to take, it will never happen, and they ultimately are fired?
Yeah. You can
Okay.
go with that answer too. So Brownie, walk us through those coaches. Let's start with the one LT's probably talking about, Ryan Silverfield.
I don't know. Will Stein might be the one you're talking about.
Oh,
we could go.
Kentucky to me is
We could go alphabetically.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, we can go alphabetically.
Did you get sold on Kentucky yesterday with Andy Staples?
Oh, I was on Kentucky way before Andy Staples.
you had
said that.
brought him
I've
up.
been telling
You've been
Brown
telling
Kentucky all the time.
You've been talking resources.
They've opened up the NIL.
I like
budget.
Will Stein a lot. I mean, I've talked about his offense the last couple of years. I don't know. I mean, Kentucky football seems really difficult to maintain and be consistent. But we're going to start Ryan Silverfield.
Well, let's go
but
athletic.
when I've been running through back in the portal days when it sounds like I'm throwing out 60 names, I threw out a lot of Kentucky along the way. They brought in a pretty good portal class, and there's a lot of faith.
Yeah.
He's got one new wide receiver I'll tell you about later on. It's an amazing story.
We'll go alphabetically, and we'll go Auburn last. Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield.
Will never happen.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah.
I thought he did a bad job at Memphis.
Yeah, I don't know how good he was.
By
at
other Memphis standards, I thought he was a C+.
Just okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've had, from Bobby Petrino to Brett Bielema to maybe even Sam Pittman, better coaches than Ryan Silverfield, and seems to be kind of a difficult job. I know they've got a little Tyson money behind them now. We saw the jersey.
That was the thing. You say a little. I don't know what the number was. We know 90% is going to NIL. I did not see a report of a number, but does that not change your opinion a little bit?
I mean, I don't think they've had a problem with money to begin with. And it's a new era, obviously, since 2023. More on that later. But I just it's the brand. I'm just not buying the brand. I'm really not buying him. Like
You're
I
not
think Arkansas can get it done. We'll pour one out for Lou Holtz later on. He was really good there.
It's going to take a special guy, though.
Yeah, with that NIL money. Like Calipari's got Arkansas already humming in basketball.
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, first of all, I think basketball is a bigger focus than football.
Yeah, I mean, that is.
I don't know.
That is their sport.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go basketball school, but if there's anybody in the SEC other than Kentucky that's a basketball school, it is Arkansas.
Florida.
I
know they don't necessarily want to be, but
I'm just saying somebody that's comfortable being that. Let me word
Yeah.
it that way. Comfortable being that. It is Arkansas. I am kind of with y'all. I don't know that I got faith that Silverfield can do it. I think Arkansas could eventually get there. I don't think it'll be
That's
under
me.
Silverfield. Yeah.
I have no problem with Arkansas being there one day. And, in fact, one day in the next 10 years. I just don't have a
But he won't be there to see it.
I don't have faith in him doing it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go next to the Fs, and that'll be Florida football. Jon Sumrall, your new head coach, coming in for Tulane, a team he just took to the playoffs. So Sumrall actually has been there.
Yeah, I don't know what the quarterback situation looks like.
Funny you should say that. Here's Jon Sumrall. hey, Coach Sumrall, when are you going to name your starting? I mean, already, we're just starting spring practice.
This guy's barely been there.
I don't even know how to get to the practice field yet, guys. When are you going to name your starting quarterback?
I don't ever put a timeline on it. You know, like when I took the job at Tulane, I wanted to have one named sooner than later, and I named one like a week before the first game, and it was the last guy everybody thought it was going to be. So I don't really have a timeline. I don't decide who starts, believe it or not. They do, by how they practice. Like everybody thinks like, oh, you made a decision to start this guy. Like I really don't make the decision. They do, by how they practice. If quarterbacks lead well, protect the football, and create explosive plays on offense and direct and command at the line of scrimmage, pretty good chance you could be the starter. If you turn the ball over, you don't lead well, you don't communicate well at the line of scrimmage, those sort of things, then you're probably not going to be the starter. So I don't have a timeline for it. Yeah, it'd be if we had an incumbent starter, that'd be really nice and easy and clean. We don't. I'm okay with that. I'm really comfortable with that. I've been here and done that before. We'll let the guys compete, and they're competing with each other, not against each other.
You know what he's really good at? Explaining common sense in a simplified way.
Yeah, I think the fact that he coaches with common sense. You know what I mean?
But I mean, that is true. I mean, I don't decide it. I mean, these guys go out, they compete, and
if
it's pretty obvious.
If he sucks at it, I'm not going to make him the starter.
Yeah.
Well,
but back to it. I don't know what you're going to get at the quarterback position. We thought we were going to get much better last year for Billy Napier and DJ Lagway, and you didn't get that. But when you look at the roster, they've got parts. We went through the schedule last week in depth, and it could be this year. I doubt it. That would be absolutely amazing. But I think within the 3-year window, I think they'll be in a college football playoff.
I'm comfortable with that. One thing I'm not comfortable with is making an opinion about Philo. There's a lot of John Mateer love for Philo that we haven't seen him like we had Mateer, but everyone thinks he can come in and be very, very successful, and he's bringing his offensive coordinator, or the offensive coordinator came first, and he's bringing Philo. But
you heard Staples yesterday. Andy was like, "Don't just pencil Philo in. This is going to be a battle."
But
that's what Sumrall just said.
But he also said, we've seen enough of Philo. We really haven't. I know he started the one game at Georgia Tech, but the guy's got 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns over the last couple of years. I think he's got 100 attempts. I mean, he hadn't played a lot of football.
Yeah. I will go. I think Florida will get there in 3 years.
Yeah.
I'll go 3 years.
I'm very comfortable with that answer.
Yeah.
So I'm agreeing with the panel on the first.
And I think Florida fans, I think they would sign up for that right now.
Okay.
All right. Next, alphabetically,
By school
is going to be the Kentucky football Wildcats. We touched on them initially with Will Stein.
When I do things alphabetically in the SEC, it always surprises me how quick I get to Kentucky. Like there's a lot of M's.
And there are. Back half of the
yeah.
alphabet's big in the SEC. Yeah. Kentucky.
Once you get out of the A's, I'm hearing the A's for a while.
You are.
A's is the state of Texas.
Yeah. Kentucky, Will Stein, first-year Oregon offensive coordinator. Obviously, you and your Kentucky Blue today, a little bit higher on them than some of us.
Here's the tricky part.
Okay.
Now, we said this about Mark Stoops to start with, that once he has a special season, do you expect him to bounce and go somewhere else? Now, Mark Stoops stayed a long time. And if he's able to have a special season, we're in a different era now where you can stay at Indiana and be one of the best coaches in college football. So if he's able to get Kentucky close to a college football playoff, in the old days, I would say Will Stein would leave and go to a football powerhouse and lead that team to the playoffs. But now I sort of think Will Stein could hang around. I think he's the coach in waiting at Oregon if Dan Lanning ever comes to the SEC. But
if he's successful, Kentucky's biggest fear is Lanning decides for whatever reason, I really do want to coach in the SEC, or I don't want to coach on the West Coast. Oregon's an easy hire then.
Yeah, but I do think if you get Kentucky to a college football playoff with the money they're paying in the SEC, then you take a look at it and you're like, why do I need to go anywhere else? Now, Lane Kiffin was a different story, but he never seemed satisfied, and that was different circumstances. But I would think that Will Stein, you would have an opportunity to keep him a long time. The problem is, before 2024, how many 10-win seasons did Indiana have?
Before 2024, Indiana had
0.
I think it was 0. Yeah. I think
10-win seasons?
Yeah. I think now they've had back-to-back for the first time. Kentucky's only had 4 of these in their entire history of football. So
Kentucky's only had 4 10-win seasons.
Yeah, and 2 under Soups. That's why I like.
I guess Rich Brooks had the other 2, probably, or at least one.
No,
of them.
I think Bear Bryant might have had one, or
I think Bear
Jerry
Bryant
Claiborne
had a 10-win.
God, Rich Brooks didn't even get one. Huh? Rich Brooks had a
Fran Curry had a 10-1. Or Kersey.
Yeah.
Kersey. Frank Curry, you're saying, who the news on NBC 13.
Curry was with Ron Franklin and Jim Dunaway.
Bear Bryant had one in 1950, but that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of success there.
Rich Brooks had him in the top 10. That's surprising. He didn't even have one.
I mean, the best he did was 8-5. Yeah, Bottom completely fell out in that 017.
Yeah, shows you how tough it is there.
Yeah, they were 3-5 in conference that year.
So the whole resources thing, like I always heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I always heard that of the rev share money, nobody siphoned off a bigger portion of basketball, not surprisingly, than Kentucky. So that already put football behind the 8 ball. So your theory here, Dunaway, is that that's just the rev share money. Don't worry about that. We got plenty of other money here.
Yep.
That's just the rev share money.
We're going to give you this little horse that just been born out here. It's worth $2 billion.
But I still think like if you get 10 big Kentucky boosters in a room and you're like, okay, man, we are going to commit to Will Stein, I think more than half are going to be like, whoa. we're not even ranked in basketball in year
That's
2
right.
under Mark Pope.
Yeah, let's get that right
fix
first.
basketball first, and then let's come back. So I am, as much as I like Will Stein, I'm pretty confident he will never get Kentucky to a college football playoff.
I'm going to go 0.
Okay, I'll go confident. I'll be confident with you guys. I'll go 0.
0?
I'm with the panel here. I'm
Why?
going to agree.
Just jump out. If you had to give
Well, even if you like Stein, I mean, Stein can win 8 games a year, and he's a good coach.
Let's say they're patient with him and he stays. Give me a reasonable expectation.
5 was the
I was
number.
going to say 5.
5 was the number that popped in.
Yeah, but that'd be reasonable.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I think we're in a place where, I hate to say this, but in the SEC, I hate the P word, parity. Love some P words, hate some P words. Parity is one I don't like. I know you guys like parity, or some people in college football like parity.
I like it.
I liked it when I knew which 4 teams were going to be good.
You like Bama dominated.
Who didn't?
Yeah. A lot of people.
With parity, I mean, a 5-year window, if we go to 24 teams, I mean, I feel like every team in the SEC should think they're going to be there every 5 years.
And that's the difference. I mean, that is the game changer here. 2014 playoff, Lance, all Kentucky's got to do is be ranked.
Let's call it the 23+1.
Well,
The 23+1, Kentucky just needs to be ranked, which that's been difficult for them.
Yeah, I won't use my Indiana example, but I'll use my Vanderbilt example. Like if Vanderbilt would have been in a 2014 playoff
they would have
last year,
easily been in. They were almost in a 12 team.
and if I'm Kentucky and Will Stein with my offensive mind, hey, I've got to get quarterback right. If I can really get quarterback, and I don't know if Minchie is going to be the guy if he's getting quarterback right. And it's looked in the past that, maybe Mark Stoops, the money they paid some of these transfer portal quarterbacks, maybe they get it right.
I've seen more of him, and he was the backup at Notre Dame. I've seen more of him than I have Philo at Georgia Tech. And maybe I don't watch enough Georgia Tech football.
I think the attempts are about the same probably. But if I'm Kentucky, get quarterback right, and you could follow exactly what Vanderbilt did. Kentucky's defense has been pretty good over the last couple of years. Their offense has been unwatchable.
I know you guys sometimes think I just throw stuff out, but I tied the teams that have been ranked in the final AP poll since Auburn last has into this conversation right here because of what we were just talking about. In the near future, I really believe it's going to be 23+1. I think that's where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
And all these teams that I just named you, most of them would have been in the playoffs because they would have been in the AP top 23.
Yeah, and this shows you why we shouldn't expand to 23+1.
Yeah. But
I kind of agree with you on that.
Jim, did you happen to see the graphic I put together yesterday? I backtracked it all the way to 2014
I think I did, yes.
to see what the 23+1 would have looked like.
Yeah.
And
how many teams were in there?
80 different teams made it in?
80 different teams made it. And if we would have backtracked to 2014
and that shows
over
you,
12 seasons.
And it really sad on some of the teams, the amount of times they
NC State would have made it 5 times.
5 times.
I told you, Dave Duran for that program has done a good job.
Yeah. And see, sadly there, since 2014, Auburn's only in there 4 times.
And NC State's 5.
And all of that was between 2014 and 2019.
Well, obviously, yeah.
I mean, how many SEC teams would have been in there before Auburn?
I believe all 16 teams would have made it at some point.
No, I believe that. I'm just saying how many more than 4 times.
More than 4.
I guess it's the far left.
Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, LSU,
Texas.
Georgia, Texas, Alabama, 7 or 8.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. I forgot.
Alabama would have never missed, by the way, back to the conversation that Jim had yesterday.
it's Jim.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't.
It looks like South Carolina is the lowest SEC team on there. Is that
Maybe
correct?
once.
This bar to me
Maybe once, okay.
now matches what you get with the
see it.
68-team tournament.
I kind of
like
agree.
certain teams like Alabama and
Yeah.
Auburn should never miss an NCAA basketball tournament. If you get to this, there are certain teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia.
It is one of my frustrations that will happen on Selection Sunday. Miami, Ohio is going to be a little different this year, but on Selection Sunday, we end up arguing about teams this year that are like Seton Hall, Auburn, USC.
Miami of Ohio.
Well, Miami of Ohio is going to be different because they're going to be undefeated if they're in the argument. Or if they're undefeated, they've won their conference tournament, so they're not in the argument. They're going to be a one-loss team.
Where are we, Brown?
LSU, the expectation is obviously this year for Lane Kiffin, but what do you think will happen?
You know, I think they've got enough talent to do it this year.
I'm kind of, I know what you're thinking here.
There's so much freaking pressure on this team, though, and, you know, are we going to get Sam Levitt for, 12 games, a healthy Sam Levitt? I am going to say it's 2 years
I
for
think
LSU.
it'll actually be in year 2 for Lane Kiffin before he makes the playoff. The expectation is this year, but I think it'll be year 2.
I feel like it'll be this year, but Two's a very comfortable answer.
Yeah, I mean, look,
it's a safe play.
If you make it out of September unscathed, then obviously you've got an outstanding shot. But the way they close, the final, 5 weeks of the season at Auburn, Bama, Texas, at Tennessee, at Arkansas, you lose one there, you lose one in September, you're still in. So, I mean, it's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight.
Ole Miss, obviously Pete Golding coached in the playoffs this year, but in the spirit of the discussion we're having, we want to talk about Pete Golding taking a team from Labor Day to the playoffs. So when do you think Pete Golding will do that?
He'll get no credit.
No.
Very little credit about last year,
That's
much
right.
like Tua in 2017. People forget he's a national championship winning quarterback.
He only came in and won the game.
I mean, they're going to be underdogs in 5 games. And just imagine if he loses the 5 games he's a dog in and you go from semifinals to 7-5 in your first year as a head coach.
That's going to be tough.
It's going to be a disaster. I don't think Pete Golding will ever get them to a playoff.
Wow.
And I like Pete Golding.
I like Pete too.
Yeah, and I would put anybody out there that I value and I think they're credible. If you want to DM me, and I would put money on the fact that he will never get to a college football.
3
As long
years.
as it's 12. Now, if it expands, then it's different. And I like Pete.
I'm going to say 3 years.
It's going to expand.
It's going to expand. Now, 24 would make it pretty easy. 16, you're still.
And let's not forget, we just saw them in their first college football playoff.
I'm
and
aware.
how long was Kiffin there? And how long did it take him to build it up?
Barely missed with that loss to Florida. He would have been in if they beat Florida, and then got in. So that's kind of the expectation.
Do you guys think
I'm going to say 3 years. I think Pete will get them there.
How tough is their schedule this year?
Yeah, give me the 5 underdogs.
The 5 underdogs are going to be underdogs week 3 to LSU at home.
Yep.
It'll be a slight underdog.
They will be. That's going to be an immense amount of pressure on Pete Golding.
I feel like the winner of that game's in the playoffs. But go ahead.
They are going to be an underdog more than likely in Gainesville the week after, and that's the perfect trap game if they do beat LSU. They're going to be underdogs in Austin to Texas.
Okay.
They'll be underdogs at home to Georgia, and they'll be underdogs in Norman to Oklahoma. They'll be underdogs 5 times. So the schedule is much more difficult than Lane Kiffin ever had in the regular season, unfortunately, for Pete Golding.
That is true.
Yeah. And then the only team that is left, we'll circle back to the top, is Alex Golesh and the Auburn Tigers. This is one of those where if I knew Byron Brown was back next year, like if you told me whatever happens, happens, and he's back next year, you could talk me into a year or 2 with him. I think it's a lot to ask in year 1. And then if you have to reset at quarterback in year 2, if that's what you have to do, I think it's a lot to ask for year 2.
Yeah. Here's why I think they're in play this year is because of what Lance always goes to, the Indiana effect, because of all the James Madison players that came. The South Florida players that come, there's almost just add water culture that's there. And you don't have to explain your offense because you have both signal callers, the center and the quarterback. They've communicated for a whole football season together. They're friends, and they know everything, and they can teach the others. So that's all a positive. And then you kept your defensive coordinator and that scheme on that side of the ball. So you're not changing that. So it doesn't feel like it's exactly a first-year situation with Golesh because of those 2 things. You've kept your defensive staff, and then you've got an offensive-minded coach, his offense, with your quarterback and your center. There's a lot of positives.
No,
there.
I agree. It doesn't feel like a first year. And look, and Indiana was in this situation, but Auburn seems so far off is the only reason that I would say I'm going to put him in the same window as Jon Sumrall. I think it's 3 years.
Yeah,
I think Auburn fans would be all about that because you look at it, and again, they're going to be underdogs in 5 games. Exactly like Ole Miss. So if you go 7-5 or 8-4, it's the first time we've had a winning season since 2020. I think Auburn fans get behind that in year 2. You creep up on 10 games, and then in year 3, you bust open.
That's what I was going to say is that the difference is I think if Auburn this year played Indiana's schedule from 2024, Auburn would be in. Indiana had the benefit of having that continuity from James Madison and a very forgiving schedule. You just don't get that in the SEC.
And Ole Miss, I mean, back to Pete Golding, I think with Indiana's schedule probably 2 years ago would have been in.
Yeah.